Welcome to Biggest Geekus. We're your hosts. I'm Joe.
And I'm Randy.
This is episode 176 of the show, and the date is Tuesday, January 30th.
Your voice, your sound just went bloof.
Okay, this is stupid. Hold on.
Yeah.
I think because the other sound happened.
Okay. Your computer's being squirrely. Got a good crowd, baby. Hey, Mr. Boivin, good to see you this week. L's in the house. Ultra American. Welcome, dude. David Gwill, Darth Fiak, Mac Thompson, Patrick Demo. We got the usual groovy suspects. I believe Halcyon was in earlier. Mac said he... Go ahead.
Check.
Decent.
Okay.
You were really good at the beginning, says L. Larry Elliott, Flatey, Gary D20. The peoples are coming. The cool people. This is where the cool people hang out on Tuesday night, dude. So anyway, I want to shout out a little bit if I can here. While Joe's working with the sound. I got this sweet Miskatonic University sticker from Mac Thompson. Thank you, sir. He bought one of the modules. I sent that bad boy out to you today, this morning, via UPS. Be ready to get a package by Friday, is what they said.
UPS? Not USPS?
I didn't. Here's why. I didn't want to drive. I was over there by Lasco's, and UPS was just down the way. And yeah, Randy does need Vicks. I got my tea. Help me out here, L. But I was just closer, and the price is about the same, dude. I sent out somebody else for the same price. A little pricey. You guys need to cut back from.
Sometimes.
What's that?
It can work out sometimes.
Yeah. So it was a light thing. Normally I would go UPS to support my boy here, but it was just more convenient. I had to get to class. That's my excuse. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
So L is saying my volume crapped out again.
It did for a second. Now it sounds good when you're close. That sounded pretty good.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Me neither. It sounds like some left-wing bullcrap, not unlike the article.
Yeah, I've probably accidentally bought a left-wing microphone.
Far left, progressive, ultra mic, yeah. Yeah, I kind of did. Max said it wiped out the profit. Yeah, it's all right.
Sometimes, a lot of times UPS and FedEx, especially FedEx, is way more than our prices. Now, a lot has happened. Well, that's the last time I checked.
Yeah.
But that's been a few years. And a lot has changed. Our economy has changed a lot. So who knows?
Yeah. No worries, Mac. I chose to do it. I figured it'd cost me more. It's all right. I'm thinking of it more as a loss leader.
Yeah.
When I buy my second one, I'll really milk you guys good.
Well, Elle is asking if the mic brand is Karen because I called out Karen in our title, and maybe there's some conflict there somehow. But no, it is an Audio Technica, which is supposed to be decent mics, not top of the line, but decent mics.
Elle was asking earlier about a person, Olivia. I believe the one you're referring to. The lady that wrote the article is a Dr. something Williamson. Is that right? What is her silly name? Oh goodness.
Oh, Elle now wants us to restart the show because the mic sounds better.
Let's do it. Start it up.
How about we say we did it, but don't?
Okay, sounds good. We did it, Mike. Or we did it, Mike. Look, guys. Okay, look. I'm going to... My head is like clogged. I was doing all sorts of craziness today, and it was just struggling. Welcome, Green Apple. So hopefully, I know I sound totally weird. I'm sounding like I'm in my own head, so... Sorry about that, guys.
Oh, that's always bad news.
You don't want in here, baby. You don't want in my head.
Dr. Cleo Bell Weissman.
Yeah, she's as Ryan David said today. She has 2 last names, so that's trouble.
Right.
Oh yeah. I said thanks to Max for this. Yeah, it's cool.
Yes, you did. She says doctor, but she's a PhD researcher, which she mentions at least twice, maybe 3 times in her article because she's so very proud. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the content.
Except she wants to produce social change, social work. Look. I'm going to say stuff. I'm probably going to say stuff piss people off tonight. In academia, sociology is not a science.
No,
it is not. It is not ever, no matter what you do. Even if you collect data, you're not really doing science.
You're not doing data.
Yeah.
Because okay, so the data they have is X number of respondents marked this answer on the survey. So that data, sure, but most of the stuff that's gathered is self-reporting.
Yeah.
And self-reporting is extremely unreliable. You
It
can
is.
ask the same person the same question 5 times in 5 days, and you might get 5 different answers.
Well, your mic is going in and out, really sucks.
In and out of love.
David Gwill said, and I agree with this, she's so stunning and brave for publishing the article and then taking it down. So, yeah.
She took it down?
Oh, yeah, it was only up for a little bit. Grimm and people had to get it from the archive. I know.
Oh, that's
Grimm,
why this says archive. Oh.
A lot of people are more on top of this than us, but we have some opinions we're going to express. I have some very strong opinions. I think it's ridiculous. So the article, right? Well, I guess we should jump. You want to jump? Well, Joe,
Yeah,
you're
so
late.
let's just jump
into this?
in. Let's jump into our main topic. And so I am sorry if my mic goes in and out. I'm not sure why. It is a decent mic. Maybe I'll just point it right at my mouth instead of to the side.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so the main, we have a couple of topics. This is going to be however long it lasts. It's not necessarily going to be the main thing, but we want to talk about this article. It was originally introduced in a video, to us, to Randy, because Joe didn't watch the YouTube video.
Right.
Because
there's a couple of them. Grimm has done a couple and some updates. I think he had one today I've yet to see. I've not yet listened to Ryan David's full podcast on it. Patty is over at Rumble. Yo.
Hey, Patty.
Man. Yes, all right.
Oh, yes. Hello to everybody on Rumble. And my mic is an Audio Technica, and it's only a few years old, maybe a couple years old. And someone is saying that the mic problem is Linux. So I will look into that.
I thought Linux was sheer perfection, Joe.
Yeah, no.
Go figure.
Yeah. Well, there's less spying on it.
Oh, one more thing too. Let me thank someone else. Larry Elliott purchased one of the physical copies, and I believe the Ultra TTRPG has contacted me. He's going to purchase one as well. So if I can sell, counting Ultra American, we'll count him as a sold. If I can sell 2 or 3 more, I have broken even. Unless I do the UPS again, then I'll be deep in the hole.
Yes, you will.
Yeah, I shouldn't have done it.
You will get a punch in the nuts from me.
Okay, then I will go back to the USPS.
You can schedule them to come pick up your package, and it doesn't cost anything extra.
Who?
The post office.
You'll come to my house at my beck and call.
I won't, because I don't like you.
Joe, I'm going to say, I want Roger Harden to come get my stupid package, and you take it to Mac. You deliver it, hand deliver it to Mac.
One of your local postal workers, so what you have to do is put it somewhere they can get it. So, yeah.
Oh, I got to put it where they can get it. I can't hide it and say find it.
You can't hide it. So if it fits in the mailbox, you leave it in there, put the flag up. If it doesn't, you put it on your porch and you tell them to come to your porch. Now that's going to make
that doesn't work. I'm going to say come into my house.
If it doesn't work,
get killed by my big dog.
Because it might not, because you never know. You might have a grumpy postal worker who says, "I'm not getting out of my truck today. There's no one."
I got a really cool one. She's awesome, actually. She's a good lady.
Good.
I'm not worried about her. She'd be cool. It's true, Patrick. That's true. Joe delivers Patrick's mail.
It is one worker. Well, no, not really.
He almost delivers his mail. Yeah.
My route is Route 69. 69, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the year that my wife was born, which is odd. Odd coincidence. Anyway, and his is on Route 77. So they're not right next to each other. Oh,
that's right, because you didn't. I used to live where Patrick lives, so you didn't deliver mail then. But every once in a while, wouldn't you sub and do that, though? Or was that the other way? I don't know.
Yeah, I've subbed over in that area quite a bit.
Everywhere. Joe does it all, baby.
Yeah, so on the west side of town.
Okay.
No, east side, not east side.
I think they're probably more
east side. No, it's not east. I think when people throw up the horns, it's west side. Who knows? I don't. I'm a nerd. Anyway, back on our topic of someone who probably shouldn't write ever again. Am I out again?
You're good now. It's just fading in and out, dude. Do your best.
How is this internet? Is this better?
Nope. Now it's low again.
Okay, I spoke lower because I wanted to sound sultry.
Oh,
Anyway,
good job, Sultrina.
all right. So Grim Jim and Tenkar did a video that Randy watched that I didn't.
Oh, yes.
So what do you have to say about that video?
Well, and I've read the article. I did read it. I got a little blurry-eyed halfway when she was talking about all the queer people, and that's
I got tired of seeing her picture every
dude,
couple.
oh god. So chick says, "Oh, I'm gonna be quoting Mac Thompson. He wrote a response which he should put on the interwebs. It's very good, and he even checked out her sources. And she does have a degree, I guess, a PhD, whatever. If it's not STEM, I question it. Anyway, she's from a fringe social group, the Alphabet Mafia, and she seemed to talk to all of them. That's who she talked to. I mean, there's a couple other names mentioned, like Monty Cooks was thrown out there. I don't think he's
part of that community.
I don't know if I think he's friends with him. I don't know if he is part
of it.
He's
an ally. That's one of the A's.
Oh, my bad. So yeah, he's one of the letters.
In the 37
letters of the
long. At the very least, allied.
And she studied for 4 years because she had been studying incels and what did she say? What else? Delinquent youths, violent criminals in maximum prisons, and yet she's more frightened by gaming nerds.
Yeah. Mac Thompson, who's here in the chat, sent us his takes on the article, and I agree with him in saying that's I call bull crap on that.
Yeah, he points out several things, which is obvious. As I was reading it, the whole thing the first L, both actually,
folks, incels
and they get a rough road too. I mean, some of them probably deserve the crap they catch, the incels, but some probably don't. So that's how it is everywhere.
Right. If you whine about it online and moan and complain and all this other stuff, then yeah, maybe you deserve a little bit of pushback from people, at least pointing fingers and whatnot. But if you just bow out and maybe you're not part of the selection of women, what can you do?
Yeah,
you shouldn't whine about it.
Or not even bow out. Maybe you just don't get picked. Ultra American Gamer says, yes, because all straight white men are incels. We don't agree with them. Yeah, that kind of is how it goes. And but let's not go down that. I'm not a red pill guy, and I like some of the things they say, and I dislike some of the other stuff they say. I didn't hear this. Hold on. Darth says, Randy, have you heard that STEM is being changed to STEAM? Science, tech. Darth, you better be joking, dude. You better be kidding me. I'm going to give you. Okay, hilarious. If Darth is telling me the truth, he's getting a nut punch at Big Geek Con too. He might be right.
So
yeah, I kind of am.
Let me respond a little bit quicker.
Go ahead, do it.
Because mine's shorter because I didn't read as much as Randy.
Sure.
Because in the very beginning of the article, she goes over her credentials. And, first, she's got her big fat face at the beginning of the article. And then she has 3 or 4 audio clips that also feature her face. And then her face is also at the bottom in the bio part. So we don't need to see the author's face that many times in the article. And she mentions herself in the article a couple times. I couldn't read it all. I just skimmed, but I imagine she does it more, where she talks about how she interviewed people and she's basing her research on her interviews, which I think is bad science, if she was going to call it science, because maybe you design the questions, but you should have other people administer them and then draw data from that so that you have separation.
Well, okay, hold on. So I'm going to disagree here. What you can do and I'm not a big research guy. I've done a couple research papers, very minuscule in a tiny little area. You can ask the questions, but you should have someone look at the questions so that they're not biased, and you have to read them as they're written. If you don't, you can introduce bias, and you got to read them the same to every person every time. At least that's how we do in mathematics.
Right, right. But
if we have descriptive stuff, say in elementary mathematics, which is
she describes her process as interviews. So if she's interviewing someone, I'm imagining that their conversations take different turns and stuff like that, because she's having a conversation with people.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm going to question it. It's in sociology. I'm sorry, guys. That's not a science. It's a pastime. I would. First problem is she interviewed 60 people, which might be okay if they all weren't from the same segment. And Mac made a good point of that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do statistically, which, stats aren't really math, but it's kind of close. Statistically, you can do an incredibly small number of data collections for a group and gather data that can be fairly accurate. You can do statistics with and get some accuracy. Having said that, you can't have it biased. And her group was biased. Having said that, the fascinating part is, other than one big statement about saying she expects this from the right wingers.
Right. She's totally biased. Her bias is all through that article. Oh,
yeah.
Here, I should probably post it. I'm going to post a link to the article.
Mm-hmm.
If folks here have not already read it, it's there you go.
Yeah. Right, Mac. It should be diversified. It should be randomly selected, which clearly she did not. She just basically asked people in her friend group, which may not be the truth, but in that who they would recommend.
They're too closely related in scope, I think.
Yeah.
And here's another issue.
Yeah.
This is probably my personal bias on doing statistical analysis of people's opinions.
Yeah.
I don't think that's really much of a thing, because I know people claim it is, but like I said earlier, if you're self-reporting, then you right.
He knows what he's talking about.
Right. So I've talked about representative samples myself.
Correct.
You offline lots of times.
Mm-hmm.
If the sample's too small, how can you really rely on it?
Mm-hmm.
So people are not like you can take a sample of lake water and take several samples of it and get a good read on what sorts of things are in it by taking samples and measuring them. You don't have to look at every piece of that lake water, but I don't believe that you can do the same thing with people and have the same kind of accuracy as far as if you're talking about their feelings and their opinions and their experiences. What you're going to do, or you're going to find some trends, but I don't think you're going to get any kind of real usable data.
Well, Duncan Bradley might want to chime in, and he's a guy I trust with statistics. But I'll tell you this: some statistical data you can only get by interviewing people. Like if you're doing something based on what do most people in mid-Michigan think of the Lions?
Well, sure.
Do they like? I mean, you kind of have to, if you want to put them on a scale, right? But Elle said something I want to correct her. He said, well, who in prison did she get to play D&D? Because in prison you can't play D&D. She did not get them to play D&D. Her previous work was with, she said, maximum security prisons and juvenile delinquents were her previous group that she worked mainly with. Elle, nothing to do with D&D. She researched incels, and she said, I want something a little less harsh. And she went to D&D groups, which were actually just weirdo RPG groups like the Thirsty Sword Lesbian. Yeah.
Right.
It's fascinating that every single person in there, was part of that alphabet. And so I don't even think that's the majority of gamers. I can't imagine that it is. It can't be.
Yeah. I guess I got kind of disinterested in this article because of her trying to have her cake and eat it too, from the point of view of giving credentials, but also saying they're not real credentials in a way. So in the first paragraph of the article, is this really a girl though? I mean, her picture makes it.
I questioned that momentarily because some of those people, I don't know if it was the Olivia Hill or this other person, they were trans women.
She has a very strong chin for a girl.
Can you see the Adam's apple? That's a big
Not
tell.
really, but there's kind of a roll there, so who knows? Anyway.
Look what Ultra American did. I got Thirsty Sword Lesbians for free from their itch. They should have paid you to take that, dude.
Yeah.
And put that on your hard drive. Yeah. David said, I'm right. Olivia Hill is a man. So
this isn't Olivia Hill.
No, but that's one of the people that made one of the comments about this or that. But you talk about the cat fighting. It was insane.
Right. So she says, I found I had to write in the middle of my research for an academic study. Okay. So I understand this is probably more of a bloggy type thing. So maybe she, with air quotes, is telling a little bit about herself like people do in blogs. They kind of make it a conversation instead. But she puts this across as some kind of academic thing. So when she starts out by complaining about having had to do something in the middle of her all-important academic study, and you have to state your credentials up front. No, you don't.
No. Mac makes he clarifies. Mac says the chick is a chick. She is a chick.
Okay.
I'll trust Mac.
Okay.
He follows up a very angry, damaged chick, I think.
Yeah.
And
I can. She claims to be the victim of multiple assaults, so I can understand a woman having a bad opinion of men.
Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't sound like it may have just been men, because she's part of that group they call queer. I don't even know what that means anymore.
Right. Well, yeah, it means it's one of those words that have no meaning anymore.
Correct.
No, she does not have pink and blue hair. It looks like she's got black hair naturally.
Yeah, but the long and the short of it is, the worst of it is when you look at the lies and like, I'm not a Zach Smith guy.
No.
But when you read that part about I hate to say it, and the court system seems to be backing that dude up. He got railroaded, dude.
Yeah.
And we were even you remember when we did a little comment on Zach Smith way back when we were just podcasting before we ever got to YouTube. I need to look that up. I'm almost positive you and I said, I don't know if it's true or not. And it turns out it's pretty much not if what's in there is remotely right. So
according to David Quill, he is assessing what I have said and says she just wants you to know how very important, smart, and brave she is for devoting 4 years to discover information that everyone already knew just by interacting with those weirdos.
Fair enough.
Right. So she, not only does she talk about her degree, she says that her credentials that she puts in scare quotes for some reason and says, unfortunately, needs to include that she's queer and a multiple assault survivor. And she says, so trigger warning, which if you read some research on using that phrase, the phrase trigger warning induces triggers. So you've been primed so that anything in her article that might trigger you may trigger you more readily because she's primed the pump, so to speak.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what they said. Patrick said what I agree. Here's what I'm believing about the Zach Smith dude. He's a douchebag, probably. I don't know the man. A lot of people say he is. Sounds like his online interaction has been bad with a lot of people, but not guilty of the crap they were trying to railroad him on.
You can be a little douchey and not be not assault people, and it doesn't take assault to make you a douchebag.
And Boivans even questioned the multiple assaults. And,
I have nothing
to base it on, but I understand. He's basically saying it seems like a lot of the blowhards that say stuff like that, that's just to get brownie points.
Okay. And in this day and age, assault can just be someone looking at you funny.
Right.
So what does she mean by assault?
Assault and a pepper.
So when someone says it's important that I'm queer, because of this article, it's important that I'm queer, I'm going to say no.
immediately tune out. I'm like,
Yeah.
I do.
So
That's
I
my
kind of,
natural reaction.
I started skimming and then noticing her picture and her picture again and her picture again and her picture again. So she likes to show her picture.
Well, she's proud of herself. And look, I don't just want to bag on her.
Oh. I do.
Okay.
Okay. Mainly as a reaction. Where is it at?
Joe stud. He's about to get her. Joe gonna get her good.
Well, she talks about some very loose history of D&D, where she just basically poo-poos stuff from the past, right? She talks about, here it is. Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax created Dungeons & Dragons in 1974. The box contained 3 booklets and started a revolution of sorts. It created a place for outcasts to be themselves. Okay. No.
Outcast to be themselves.
I wasn't an outcast. Randy wasn't an outcast. I mean, perhaps some people who were outcasts played the game, but to find like-minded people, yes. To share in a hobby that no matter how many people tune into Stranger Things or get the whole retro idea of it is basically niche. Yeah, our game hobby was very niche at the outset.
Yeah.
And even through 3rd edition, I think. Sometime during that in Pathfinder, the audience broadened and the niche became bigger, so the experience became different.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead.
It's a closed society in a way.
Yep.
And not always welcoming to outsiders. Everybody I played with was.
Yep. Patrick does say he was an outcast. He felt like an outcast. I think on some levels, back in the 80s and 70s, some people, probably not this, I don't think Gygax really felt that way. And I don't think Arneson might have. From what I've watched on this video, which I still haven't found my Secrets of Blackmore. I'm getting really aggravated.
What do you mean?
I think I haven't found my DVD yet. I got this one, The Dreams of Gary's. But we need to review this, and I haven't found the other one. So, but I think there was some outcast. But I think he's like, the way she's saying it is pejorative. Like, no, these are outcast turds. No, it's that people didn't want to hang out with them because they thought the games they were playing were weird. That's on them.
Yeah. It's. I think calling us outcasts is a little bit.
I think it's meant to be pejorative.
Yeah, not just pejorative. I think it's a little bit strong.
Okay.
For a lot of us. I mean, sure. I wasn't like the football captain or on student council or anything like that. Nobody really.
Yep.
I think it was more nobody really cared.
Yeah,
rather than folks push me away or anything like that.
Dar says, outcast, that's far from accurate. I was the only one in my high school game group. I was the only one that wasn't a jock and considered popular. Yeah, okay.
It's like that.
Over on Rumble, I got to shout out Patty. Patty said, reset the clock. I'm writing an article right now on Joe's abuses of Randy, spurned on by Randy's hardcore DMing.
Yeah, because I complain about things.
And Elle said he was going to fart in my general direction. And I said I would feel assaulted, but I would find it funny.
I do find
farts hilarious.
Punches all the time. He might feel
you do. I'm scared. I'm going to feel harassed and harangued.
Right. So, let's see. Where is?
Hold on. Hold on. Go ahead and talk. I got to do the.
Okay. So. These mostly boys, teenagers, and eventually men played with as many people as they could find. So she is contradicting herself in the back of game stores and in basements and as many people as they could find. We could find. That's actually true. The stuff above it and some of the stuff below it contradicts that statement, but as many people as we can find is true. Eventually, inevitably, they ran out of friends in their immediate locale to play with. Okay. So anybody who isn't a social butterfly only has so many friends. Right? So I don't know what she's trying to say there. But then, like a miracle, the internet happened, so they contacted each other. The internet did precisely what it was designed and imagined to do. It brought people together, allowed them to find one another, helped them to build a community. No. That community became increasingly diverse and interconnected, brought in many more people who were not white, straight men.
Oh, and that's helped the hobby so much.
As if that's important.
Right, like that's done anything.
Right. And produced many other games which take cues from the D&D model, but are all different in 1,000 ways. There is now a thriving and diverse scene full of folks making and discussing tabletop role-playing games, which is good, right? In theory. And then, dun, dun, dun. She drops the other shoe and, casts dispersions on the white folk.
Our man makes a good point. Whew. The internet showed up and saved us 20 years later. And Green Apple makes a good point. He says, how do you run out of people to play with? I don't see why you couldn't keep playing with the same people.
Yeah.
I mean, through our people grow up, but I've never had an issue, not a bit, finding gamers ever at any point.
And I think the whole inevitably they ran out of friends is a dig at these folks not being friendly, not having enough friends, as if you can run out of them. I mean, really.
She, I think she makes the comment about she expected this from right-leaning people. I think deep down what hurt her feeling so much, it was her own people, because she really thought, that alphabet community was just perfection, hold hands and sing kumbaya. It seems like it. So
no, the whole okay. There are some people that think that elements within that community are whittling down all of the letters so they can just use the letter Q. And call everybody queer, because there are queer folk who have a problem with gay men for some reason, because a lot of gay men present very masculinely and they're not queer enough for them.
Whatever.
And then there's lesbians who insist that there's such thing as women and that it has more meaning than just whatever it is you want it to be. So they want them kicked out of the group. So it's just it's very fractious. Anybody says that that's a big kumbaya community are lying.
I'm going to tip to Alay, the ultra American TTRPGer. He says, I'm used to playing online and I'm worried about playing in person due to past online drama that somehow reached local gamers in my area. I get that I guess I didn't read that clearly. That could happen. But sure. Honestly, I would not worry about online bullcrap bleeding into face-to-face most of the time. Honestly, I've never, we talk about online crap because it's fun. We laugh at our table, but nobody's mad about something somebody said in our big group. And we have quite a few people, and not everybody are centrist or right-leaning or libertarians. We got some lefties in our massive group.
Yeah.
But they're not about the, they're more like, maybe a little bit like Grimm, but not as bad. And not as, I don't say bad, but Grimm's kind of a socialist guy. And he's a reasonable cat, whether you like his politics or not. He's generally a reasonable guy to talk to. I didn't find him offensive.
No, we had a very good conversation here.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit more ballistic than I usually am about these things, mainly because of it's the same old crap, right? This is the same old crap everybody has said. She didn't introduce anything new. She just said, hey, all these things that we hate white dudes about, I do too. Right? She didn't introduce anything. People have been talking about Zach Smith, right?
Yeah.
Forever. It's been years.
Yeah, he's been
people on both sides.
Since we started our podcast, it was, I believe it was old when we started our podcast. I think they were talking about him going to court with that. Oh, what's that girl's name? I think she was his wife. I'm not sure. Amanda. I don't know. But anyway, it was like a court. It was in a document. Amanda or Mandy. I think that sounds right. And so anyway, and apparently he was pretty much exonerated. All the crap she said sounds like BS. No one believed it. There was not enough evidence. And even and wasn't Zach one of the first people to have naked chicks playing D&D?
Yeah.
And so, look at that crowd, and that's one thing that bothers me. that crowd that likes to look at us and go, "Oh, you're so oppressive." You guys are oppressing each other.
Yeah. Because hold on to your seats. There are douchebags in our hobby. Also, water is wet.
Correct.
So lots of people have, on both sides of our political divide, ideological divide, have pointed out that Zach Smith has got a raw deal. So she's just thrown her hat in the ring and put Zach Smith in here, probably to get some clicks.
Yeah, probably.
I think this has got a lot of clickbaitiness to it.
Yeah, but I do think it's interesting that she ended up taking it down, or tried to. Once it's on the internet, you lost.
She probably had people in her community that said, "How dare you? How dare you defend Zach Smith? He's a horrible person that no one's ever proven is horrible."
Well, because a lot of them were saying, like, yeah, what he said wasn't true, but he deserved it.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah, it wasn't true, but this is a bad guy and he deserved it. And I'm like, that. I'll be honest with you, and this might rub people the wrong way. I would not try to cancel. I wouldn't try to cancel Hitler on a false accusation.
No,
I would not.
Let the truth stand.
Let the truth stand.
Yeah.
The rest of it's bullcrap. You're just making excuses for your bad behavior.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's my take on the whole article. So
yeah.
Do you want to add anything to that, Randy?
I would basically say that I'm going to quote what Max said at the end. She should get a refund on her degree.
Yeah.
For sure. So I'm done with that poop. No interest in that.
Yeah. And this is kind of why we don't do this a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I did for a while. I put a lot of argumentative stuff early on. And we've had some, like when it's connected to, like when we talk about Bro SR or 4D gaming, welcome Mr. Boisvan. Wait a minute. What did he say here? Chicago, that's the opposite of what we've been doing for 80 years. What does that mean? What's the opposite?
I don't know. Maybe what she says we're doing.
Oh,
I don't know about 80. I don't know what the 80.
But hot topics like the 4D gaming and the Bro SR and different, things that people have opinions on and certain style. That was fun last week with the divide thing. But a lot of that was like, let people be. I'm glad he's here. I love what he said last week about that. Oh, canceling on false accusation. Oh, yeah. That's kind of how, and it's stupid. And so I just think that it's fine. It's fun to debate. It's fun to say the blue hairs go, "Oh, Randy's a right-wing Christian turd." Okay, fine. No problem. You're not completely wrong. And then I could say you're a blue hair hippie and I'm not wrong. And whatever. But the cancel culture stuff is dog crap, especially it makes them look bad. And they love to say, well, back in the day we used to get oppressed. That doesn't matter. I'm sorry. It's not back in the day anymore. No. And I'm sorry. Nobody on that team is oppressed. None of them. They're raised up and celebrated.
Yes.
So I don't want to hear
by the folks they say are oppressing them.
Correct.
The man. No. There might be there are definitely individuals out there that do not like people on that side of the fence bad enough that they will do bad things to them. Right. But that's not the majority. That's a very small percentage of people.
That's a dude with a problem.
Yeah, that's a dude with a
stalker. He's got issues. Something's wrong with that guy. And I don't wish anybody to hurt anybody on their side. And they definitely shouldn't hurt anybody on quote unquote our side, whatever, any side, you can even name call. That doesn't bother me as much. But that bearing false witness crap, that's huge, dude.
And many times they invent their own problems.
Yes.
Like the trans people who want to be in sports, and the whole controversy about men competing against women, and we have to be allowed to play because we want to play, and they've created the whole controversy by being dumb.
Dude, look at this. Here's the deal. I'm 6'2". When I was younger, I was maybe 260, 250, and for a fat dude, I could play ball. I could play basketball, couldn't I, Joe? I was decent. Nothing great. Just for a regular fat dude, I was nothing to talk about. You'd be hard-pressed to find a woman that could beat me.
Right.
Any woman. Hard-pressed. Yeah. I'm not saying there weren't women at college athletes and high school athletes that could, but I'm telling you, at 22, 25, hard pressed. I would beat 99% of them. And I'm a nobody. I can barely touch the net.
Right.
And that's just stupid. There's a big difference between a man and a woman, and we need to admit it and quit being idiots.
Yeah. If you wanted to take on a feminine persona as a man and that makes you feel better or whatever, that's none of my business. It's just the rest of the stuff that they're trying to kind of shame everybody into following along and re-educate everybody into thinking that men can just become women. That's where I kind of like, no, and I will say no.
Well, and Larry Elliott says you have to respect my beliefs, though I don't have to respect yours. Yeah, that seems to be their attitude. And Mac, this is kind of where I feel right now. Honestly, as long as they keep the crap out of my face and every damn TV show, movie made now, then, he said they can do what they want. It's a free country. And he follows that up with, he goes, but they have forced it down our throats. That's where I get mad and pick up the ball. Yeah, it just gets old. And I get why somebody like Ryan David, it's like gatekeep. I get it because they pushed you to it.
So
I really don't want that. I don't want to do that. Let them do what they want. Play the barista games if they want to. I don't care.
That's why I'm not going to like protest at Gen Con when it's not really about what I want to do. That's why that's kind of part of my motivation to keep this Big Geek Con going. Because then you know what we can do at Big Geek Con? We can play D&D. We can play whatever other role-playing games we want, and we don't have to have all of the weird distractions they have at the Gen Cons of the world that don't have anything to do with gaming.
Yeah. Oh, Gen Con it's lost, dude. You might as well. And I got a couple people on here who don't like Gen Con. Our good friend likes Gen Con. I don't want to poop on him, but it's lost. It's a lost cause. He navigates it well. He won't mind if I name him. He knows. He's told people he goes. Patrick Demo and his company. He wants to sell stuff, but the truth is, one day Patrick's probably going to have to punt.
Yeah, that's what he said too.
And it's a shame. And I just saw it on the 50th when I went on the 50th. I had full of nostalgia. I loved it. And when my head came out of the clouds of nostalgia, looking at all the horticultural stuff and all the old D&D stuff, then I take a peek around and I'm like, where am I? Who are these people? What are they doing? I'm out. It's really a shame, Mac. He says, I've never been to Gen Con. I've only done small cons. They're more fun. Yes, they are, but I'm telling you, at a point in the 80s and 90s, Gen Con was pretty special for me. Maybe not for you, it wouldn't have been. I do maintain Joe would have liked it. Early 90s, late 80s, he'd have had a heck of a good time.
Oh, I'm sure I would.
A lot of like-minded people, and it was new and it was cool. Oh, wow. Says they have networks for getting normies banned from gaming and Comic Cons. Well,
it's not at this point. It's not worth going.
Ain't going to happen at Big Geek Con.
No.
And I don't care if barista players come. Blue hair and pink hair, they can come to Big Geek Con. I mean, don't start nothing, won't be nothing, but they can come and play their games.
Yeah.
And they could even use X cards at their table.
At their table.
We won't be using it, and we're not complaining if someone doesn't follow it. Wait, got to police your own people, dude. I ain't telling people what to do.
Right.
Get over yourself.
Right.
But they won't. They won't show up because there'll be too many people playing.
All we have to do is continue to say our convention is family friendly. And I know some people have an issue with having kids around and they want to let loose and curse a blue streak or whatever. But I think for us to be able to really keep it a bit wholesome, we have to make it wholesome by making it family friendly.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, we're not having chainmail bikini guys. I hate to disappoint you. It's not happening. We're not. I mean, look.
And they're not going to want to be.
No, it's going to. Yeah, we're just not having it. And there's no reason. Trust, we got plenty of other stuff to do. Don't worry about looking at that stuff. We don't want it in kids' faces. We have enough kids where I can't in good conscience have any of that crap around. And honestly, I don't need to see it anyway. I don't need that in my mind. So, what's that? What's lady saying?
Lady says something a little cryptic. There's no room for poison dart frog people on my coalition states.
Welcome, Flint Fire Forge. That's a character from Dragonlance, right?
Yeah, Flint Fire Forge. Yeah.
Dar says, "Damn it, Randy, that was the only reason I was coming." Yeah, Flint, welcome. I don't know if I know you, if you're someone that's I know and got a different handle, but I like the handle, bud. It's cool. So Dragonlance, thank you, sir. Glad you caught it. But yeah, I just yeah. Good
All
thing
right.
they're not our people.
They're not. All right, so let's get on to some actual gaming stuff. Let's see. Is this or did I?
Can I pause you just for a second? Cal
Yeah.
made a good point. I'll check it out. Tincard just dropped another video on the lying is okay for the right cause. And Cal, thank you for getting in contact with Double D from Diversity and Dragons. We have a loose commitment, though he's not gotten back to me. I'm going to try to keep talking to him on Twitter. If you talk to him, just let him know that we want to make it happen, maybe as soon as next Tuesday. So get Double D on here. Oh, Flint, welcome, buddy. He's brand new to our channel.
Yay.
Glad you love it. Yes,
Make
sir.
sure you subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe and like and all that groovy stuff, man. You are welcome, sir.
I have to look and see if I didn't. It looks like I've got the old. Let me see if I've got. We had an update to the outline, and I think I was looking at the older one.
Oh, okay. What did you call this episode?
Yeah, there we go.
What did you call this episode?
I called it in the
Meet Karen and something. Did you use disheartening or not?
I said disheartening Dweomers in it. So the thumbnail said internet meet Karen and disheartening Dweomers.
Hey, Cooking with Cucky, welcome. I think is that one of the Cooking with Cucky. I think that's one of the DVR people, right?
Well, formerly, but still in that they're doing their own thing for a while. But
either way, welcome, Cooking.
Yeah.
Glad you're here. Very cool. Did you tell them to do the things, or was I rambling while you were doing that?
You rambled about doing the things, but maybe I should, so we can take a little bit of breath. So we got a little bit passionate there. So yes, if you are listening and have not already, please subscribe. Also like and share and follow, depending on what platform you're using, whether it's podcast or video. Do all the things that the algorithm loves.
Yes.
And we thank you for doing all of that.
Yes. Caress that algorithm for us.
Yes, please. Fondle it. Oh, sorry.
Whatever it needs, man.
So now probably the more D&D related topic or role playing, because this can be
finally
Joe almost muted then.
Yeah, your sound, dude, it's doing its thing. That's good. It's all right. Just go with it, man. We can't fix it. So
not at the moment.
Joe will learn sign language soon.
Well, that won't help the podcast people.
Oh, they already know. They're super smart people, so they're good. I don't know it, but
no, I'm just saying it won't help them, because the folks that are just listening, you will talk, I will do sign language, and then there will be dead space.
Max says your mic is like a wave rolling into the shore. That sounds like the start of a good book. The wave was rolling into the shore.
All righty then.
That'll be the start of my next adventure. That'll be the first line I use.
I just updated to a new version of Linux. So maybe the audio codec isn't very good. So I'm going to do some research. Anyway, we're talking about disheartening Dweomers. In essence,
that's what I'm going for.
Oh,
Silent Joe.
Silent Joe.
And it's the Randy Show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So the thought here is that in our gaming space, we have some spell issues or magic. It doesn't have to be a spell. And they can cause a little bit of disruption depending on the DM's point of view. So
yeah, depending on
spells that cause issues and sometimes ruin challenges and fun at the table.
Yeah,
I'm going to say it's mostly a DM issue. DM has issues with these are issues that the DM primarily has.
It doesn't fit. Like for me, I'm going to have some comments. It doesn't fit my idea of how it should work in my game. Do you have are we just going to talk about the one spell, or are you going to bring them all up tonight? Because I was almost thinking this could be a regular.
Right. We can talk about this multiple times. It all depends on how long this one takes.
Okay.
So the one that I brought up in the email to you,
Yeah, you said
as an
multiple
example,
spells.
was
No.
teleport.
Yes, that's
right?
what I was thinking of. Yeah.
And teleport can be an issue because what can happen is you can avoid things that the DM has planned.
Yep.
You can avoid those. You can overcome traps very easily. I was saying you can, what was the resupply? So if you run out
Resupply
of stuff,
easily.
you can teleport back to town and get some more stuff. It can be a game changer when you get it. And you get it.
Oh, good.
You don't get it until 9th level.
Yeah.
As a D&D wizard.
If you're playing, yeah. I think I had less problem with it, and I have less problem with teleport when it comes in. And what I mean by that is, for classic D&D or most D&D, Arnman says, the DM, I let powerful spells kick butt because it lulls the players. And it does lull them into a false sense of security. I agree. I don't have an issue. It's not that I hate high-level spells. I really don't. I don't hate teleport. One of the problems I had is so teleport's 5th. Let's go classic D&D. Teleport's 5th level. Dimension Door's 4th level. And then if you add in the other versions of the game, you have crap like Misty Step in 5e, which is a short teleport, but it's a 2nd level spell. And if you go to 3rd edition, I believe Teleport Circle was 9th. I have no issue with that level. Teleport Without Error, that's a 7th level version of that.
In some versions of the game, there's racial teleport abilities.
Yes, like the Eladrin from 4e. You 4e players, tell me if I'm right. The Eladrin, which was a race, could teleport. Was it once an encounter or at will? Not at will, but which is now we played 13th Age. The High Elf has the High Elf blood teleport. They can teleport once. Is it once per combat?
I'm not sure.
Something like that, but not real far. It's not like teleport across the land.
I think they can only teleport their movement speed.
Yeah, and there's some built-in there are some built-in restrictions with teleport that can help. I mean, like I said, teleport of all of them bothers me the least, but I will say this. I think if you have characters teleporting all over the place, so once a group gets teleport, if a wizard, and help me out, guys, I've not played 1E or 2E or even basic D&D in a while. When you get teleport at 5th level, can you immediately teleport the whole group with you, or is it just going to be a solo teleport? Bruce, thank you, buddy. Welcome, Bruce Lombardo, the man, the myth, the legend of Dick's Division. Pathfinder teleport takes you and one person per 3 levels up to 100 miles per level. You must be in contact. So if you get it at 9th, you can take you and 3 other people. That could be a party of 4 characters right out the gate. All you can just teleport. Bam. Now, one teleport spell.
Yeah, because at 9th level, base in just regular D&D, say AD&D first edition, you at 9th level you have 1.
Yes, and
if that's the spell that if you find it.
Well, so if you're a conjuration specialist in Pathfinder, you could have 2, right? Isn't teleporting
potentially? Yeah.
I haven't played Pathfinder in a while, but Bruce can tell me.
Is teleport conjuration?
I think it was at one time. Am I wrong?
Who knows?
Yeah, Al, there's some lower level druid pass through plants and stuff like that. And Flint says Fireforge. It's also it is a good spell. I think that's a great way to use it. And I think teleport bothers me a little bit. Some people, it really bothers them a lot. I actually like the idea of a very restricted, Bruce concurred, conjuration for 3x. Sounds good. I kind of liked it. I don't know if you remember this, Joe. I thought it was kind of neat when you got the teleport spell at 9th level.
Yeah.
Because I was like, dude, the game's changing. If you want the game to change. And I think if you're a DM, if you want to play, now if you're one of those people, and we have some in the chat, that like to play just levels 1 to 3, that's never going to become a problem for you.
If you're an old school
low level,
you're probably teleport's probably never going to be an issue unless you get it in a magic item.
If you're a BX guy and you don't really care about getting to real high levels, you got a 9th level character. He's already retired, dude. He's got his little key. He's rolling out. He's teaching people. He's got teleport, but nobody else does. And our man brings a good point. If the whole teleport the whole party doesn't teleport, isn't splitting the party. Seems like it'd be a downside. Yes, depending on when you do it.
And old school teleport also had failure conditions. So
yes,
the fifth level version of teleport in 1E and 2E, I think both you had different chances for you had a table, and if you rolled really bad, you could teleport into a solid object or teleport way high and fall to your death. All kinds of weird stuff. It wasn't a trivial chance. It was a pretty significant chance that your spell would go awry.
Yeah, it was. Mr. Boivin, I think he's got the perfect answer. He said, "No magic users, problem solved."
Sure, and that's kind of the way a lot of folks want to solve this kind of problem is just disallow the spell.
Now let's talk about it. What issues do I really have? I do find that if it comes out the gate and the whole party can move together. Now, if you have one shot doing it, doesn't bother me, because you can say, well, we can resupply. Yes, you can. Teleport back to Greyhawk, spend a day, get your supplies that you can hope you can carry it with you, and bring them back. And that's basically 24, 48 hours. My bad guy's been up to something. You know what I'm saying? So, okay. Good luck. Maybe things just, and especially if you're in the middle of, if you've gone to the Temple of Elemental Evil and you're halfway through and you decide to teleport home for 24 hours, things can get real dicey when you come back.
Right. And if you, as a magic user, you have to prepare that spell. If you have other choices, there are some pretty cool other 5th level spells. If you can only cast 1 or 2, are you really going to set your 1 or 2 castings for teleport?
Teleport can save your butt, dude.
It can.
I would say if I had a 5th level slot, if I just had 1, I might question. If I had 2, 1's teleport. If I have it, guaranteed. Any major adventure, 1's teleport. At a bare minimum, I'm getting my butt out of there.
Right, but you can also have Wall of Force.
That's I agree.
Also
I agree with you, Joe. Right. I'm just saying, Randy would pick teleport's probably my favorite 5th level spell.
Right.
If I were to pick it.
Right. So that is the cool thing about, especially 1st edition. I think most of the 5th level, maybe not all of them, but most of the 5th level spells, you might have to do some thinking.
Yeah.
About what you prepare.
Dice made a good point. Dice says, have teleport tied to an object, which is where you teleport to. That's not a bad way to do it. Have a safe home or a place. You could do that. Sorry, hold on, guys.
Right. So if we're playing old school D&D, I would be really loath to have additional caveats to that spell, because you already have to prepare it in advance. And you have chances of failure that I already mentioned that are non-trivial. If you stick another caveat on there, I think that that overly limits it, but it might make sense for your table. It all depends on what kind of tone you want to have at your table. But honestly, if you want to make your tone that, you might want, instead of limiting and worrying about going through the spell list and finding what spells you might have to put limiters on, you might just put a cap on levels in your game and just say, hey, we're going to quit at 8th because 9th level becomes problematic with spellcasters, or you don't have spellcasters, or you can have partial spellcasters like rangers, because in old school D&D, rangers got magic user spells, but only up to, I think, 2nd or 3rd level. So you're not going to have really any problems there. As far as I can remember, there really aren't any problematic 1st, 2nd, or 3rd level spells. Except maybe, well, invisibility and fly people kind of have problems with.
Now, those are more problematic, I think.
Because of their level.
I think their level. Here's what I would do. If Randy ever writes a video game. God, sorry, guys. My throat's killing me. If I ever write a role-playing game like Mudsword, invisibility will not be 2nd level. No one will be invisible at second level unless they're very special situation. Second, invisibility to me is probably a 4th or 5th level spell. Fly also probably 5th level. Teleport would be 7th. However, I would let those spells do some very interesting things. There would be improved invisibility would be built within the spell of invisibility as you level up, as your skill gets better. Fly speed, fly abilities, levitation would be built into the spell. I would make them really boss, but they would be higher level.
Right.
People are making some good comments.
Earlier editions of the game are different. I think maybe Rule Cyclopedia, that version of invisibility. You had an outline, so you could be detected if you weren't being careful. Can't remember what version of the game. It may not be Rule Cyclopedia, but there is a D&D edition where it has that caveat.
You're not talking 13th Age where they say that they can see a slight outline of your body sometimes.
Is that 13th Age?
13th Age says something about it. Their invisibility is much higher. It's a higher level spell. You don't get that at even 3rd level. It's higher.
Well, if there were rules or some indication that you could otherwise detect through, like if you had sand on the floor, you could see their footsteps, or if your hearing ever made a difference, or animals that could detect by scent. A lot of that stuff isn't part of the old game.
Right.
So you didn't have spot or notice or anything like that could overcome an invisibility. So I think you could potentially leave that in there and have characters with a chance to notice that there's something going on. Maybe they still can't see you.
You can make the invisibility less perfect. And our man makes a good point. Oh, shoot. He likes to let people, he goes, I tend to let really creative use of spells work. Why not? I'm fine with that. I just don't, I really hate 2nd level. I'm 3rd level. I can be invisible now. God, already. And I'm 5th level. I can fly all over the place now. Already? But I mean, I guess to each their own. Disco Barbarian says, welcome, buddy. Teleport, fly, invisibility, all that crap. Great for superhero fantasy, but blows in a mud and blood game. If you want to do super, I mean, I don't know what mud and blood means, but it sounds like you just want to play barbarians and fighters.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what magic users would even do in a game like that, but I'm reading into it, Disco, so I don't know if that's what you mean.
It's probably just he's talking about gritty. If it's a gritty game, I agree. Those kinds of spells if you're going to have a gritty game and you can fly, teleport, and be invisible, it probably ruins that tone.
Armin says, had the monster teleport too. The enemy caster should be very creative. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I don't agree with you, El. Invisible is easy to bypass. Sack a flower. If you can locate where they're at.
Yeah, you still got to hit them.
Yeah, dude.
Or
-4 in old school D&D.
Yeah, I've got a -4. I can close my eyes and throw it over my shoulder. I just have a -4 to hit.
Yep. Bruce says, an advanced bestiary version of Worm That Walks for lower level players. he got his advanced bestiary in.
He did.
So I think a lot of times it's what the DM wants his world to feel like. But I think Joe, do you mostly agree with me that you think invisibility and fly are a little low level?
I think that they are.
Yeah, I mean, you may not want them as high as what I would place them, but I think you could argue, especially improved invisibility, that's easily a 5th level spell. But it was always 4th anyway. That's not much of a bump.
Right. I think that if you pair that with, if you have invisibility as it is in your old school game, if you let players describe what they are doing, you can. That's maybe what L is talking about. If the players have to have some inkling that there is somebody around they can't see before what they are doing will likely make a difference.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay. What he's saying is you could take a sack of flour and throw it up, and then it wafts across the space. Right. So it's the same thing for if there's a pool of water or puddle on the ground and they walk through it, you can see that. So
fair enough. I guess that could work. Yeah, fair enough. I wasn't thinking about that. That's fair.
Right. In some games, maybe the DM lets the flower stick to the caster, and it takes a while for it to become invisible.
Yeah. Bruce says if you throw a pound, he's backing up L. A 5-pound sack of flour, you'll have it split up in the ground, and in a 5-foot radius, have a dust cloud. Yeah, fair enough. I don't know how big it would be, but sure.
Yeah. And a sack of flour, a 5-pound sack of flour does weigh 5 pounds.
Yeah.
So not everybody's going to have a 5-pound sack of flour in their back pocket.
Yeah.
Especially at low level, because you're not going to have a bag of holding to mitigate that.
No. And a 5-pound sack of flour weighs 20 pounds. Well, here's another one. Someone mentioned this. I think it was Flower Elemental. Dicetail says, and this is how you combat this in a good way. How about providing some good countermeasure spells? I would think those would be developed quick if teleport is common. I think about the old 3rd edition, especially, guys. I don't know about old D&D. Scry and Fry became a thing.
Yeah.
You would scry's another spell. You scry your opponent. Everybody preps. You teleport in, and then you
burn that guy down.
Yeah, and there was spells I think there were spells that were like Detect Scry, and a few other things came along later on that helped to avoid that.
Right. So I think if you're using that on dweebs, then fine. But I think if you're using it on powerful individuals, they're probably going to have, many of them will have countermeasures. Maybe not all of them, but many of them will.
I mean, they could have, especially in their keep, I could imagine the powerful wizard, that if you scry him, he might have you see him at his study doing nothing.
Right.
And then when you teleport there, his study is an illusion, and it's a pit full of purple worms. I mean, because we're talking high-level stuff, right?
Sure.
So, yeah, back in 3.0, time stop and unload. But time stops in game spells. I don't care.
Yeah,
if they're powerful, spells, that's fine.
If you're going to complain about 9th level spells being too powerful.
Yeah. But I get what he's saying.
I mean, there's one that probably deserves some of the ire, and that's Wish, depending on which edition you're talking about. If you're talking about 1st or 2nd edition, then nobody should ever complain about Wish at all, because it tells the DM practically to screw the players. So
Patrick says, isn't Dimensional Anchor a spell for countering teleport? Yes, it is. In 3rd edition, for sure, you could anchor somebody so he can't teleport. I know a lot of players would do that in my high-level game back in 3.5. They would put Dimensional Anchor on demons so they couldn't run away. And be fair, when monsters get it, remember in 1st edition, there was the demons of infinite summoning. They could summon demons for you summon a demon, he summons a demon, he summons a demon.
And here's the other caveat to all of this is casters are targetable.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So once you start casting a spell, you paint a target on your chest. And depending on how the encounter is set up, you cast a spell and you start slaying things left and right. The bad guys are either going to run or they're going to jump all over the spellcaster.
Yeah.
In the old school games, there's no real solution for that. In other games, you can jump in front of people trying to bum rush the caster or whatever. But in D&D, old school D&D, once the caster gets the attention of something, they're dog meat.
Dicedale says a world of high magic would be a nightmare to live on. Could be. It could be. If it's in your vicinity.
Right. It's like I said, casters are targetable. So I think that in a high magic world, there will be competent people who learn how to take down spellcasters. And those procedures get passed around. So if your DMs with their evil master or whatever, big bad evil guy is going to have a bunch of ranged people waiting invisibly to target your spellcaster, or you could have an evil ogre mage, invisible ogre mage.
Oh,
cut off their head.
Cooking with Cucky asked a good questions. Question: can you teleport into other players and make them go boom?
No.
No, you can't. In fact, in the old school rules, if you teleported into an object, like even a rock, it would shunt you out of the object and do damage to you.
Right. There's actually a very, very small chance that you will just outright die.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the one that's kind of trivial. The rest of them are fairly good chance that you're going to just get screwed over.
In the end, Dice Tales makes a good point, and our man confirms this is the kind of stuff that makes D&D fun. Yeah, I mean, you guys think I'm like, I don't want to ever let them cast any spells. Dude, I have played high-level campaigns, and we've had Crazy Town happen with Magic.
Oh, sure.
So I'm not against that. So
and you have deployed many tactics to slap down the casters.
Mm-hmm.
And what if the enemy's a freaking golem? I mean, teleport's still going to work, but most of your other spells aren't.
I don't think you played it. I think you moved to the military, but I had an assassin that went after the party's wizards. Remember, he had a plus. This was back high level in like second or first edition. A plus. This was Unearthed Arcana, a +6 defender, and I rolled by sheer luck. So I designed the character. I rolled this sword up. He had anti-magic shell he could cast on that sword, centered around him. So he was known as a killer of wizards.
Yeah, because everybody knows you don't need anything special to take down a wizard.
If you can do anti-magic shell, they're screwed.
They're screwed, and your normal sword will just rip them to pieces.
And that assassin would just tear into pieces in about 2 rounds. Yeah.
So so teleport, to get back in what we were intending just to talk about teleport. So you can bypass encounters, traps, resupply. You can make wilderness travel obsolete depending on circumstances, because the old school teleport, you didn't ever have to have been there.
And I do think that at a certain level, that's okay. We're not trudging through the lands at 12th level. Your characters are better than that. They don't need to be hiking through forests anymore, unless they want to. Right. Pause real quick. Flighty asked a great little question. He says, how can Randy run a high-level magic games if he doesn't give out magic items to the crew? Now, that's evil. It's perspective, Flighty. Truthfully, as long as the monsters have high-level magic items and the players can't get it, it's fine. Yeah, correct. Elle said it. Randy gives the monsters biometric magic items. Correct. You got it.
They only work for the monsters.
I like that kind of rule. That's a good rule for my guys. So makes it really challenging. Joe likes that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think that's a good point. I like the wilderness thing, but I've talked to Joe a lot about. I like to see the game. I like to see it change on certain tiers where the gameplay is different. Levels 1 to 7. Regular D&D, maybe 1 to 9, let's say, before teleport comes in. You're mostly having to trudge through the forest, walk, ride, take ships. After you get teleport and fly, things become, once it becomes, when you're 9th level, you cast multiple fly spells. And between 9th and about 12th, 15th level, you're kind of popping all over the place, flying, doing your thing. And then post 15th level, you're like, where we got to go? Boom, we're there. Let's do it.
I think a reasonable solution to say fly is instead of it being a standalone spell that makes you fly, you change it so that you have to perhaps shape change into something with wings in order to fly.
That would be some limitations.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't become. I didn't say easy mode, L, but I said things change. You got characters with magic items in most games other than mine. You've got cool abilities. I mean, what if your group has a magic carpet? What if somebody has, what's that figurine where you get the flying ebony fly? I think the characters could move about. I don't think I don't call it drudgery. Some people love it. Counting every copper, counting every arrow, keeping track of your water and your rations. That game goes away if you play D&D, even as if you don't stop at level 3 to 5, if you get to levels 7, 8, 9, that stuff becomes less of a big deal, especially with spells like Goodberry. The clear can keep people eating fat and happy for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Barely burning resources. Bruce says in his game, teleport costs 36 mana points. If you have the mana points, good luck. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. But I think you're right. I think that's an important thing to consider with those spells. And if you're fine with it and you don't want to mess with it, I think you can just let players be creative and have the world, like Dicetail said, basically have the world react to this. If third level casters can be casting invisibility, people are going to start to, people with intelligence are going to have some defenses against it. Sacks of flour all over the place.
Right. Elle asks, isn't there a free magic mansion at higher levels? Yes. Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion. It's a great spell.
It's a great spell.
Its limits are that it offers you a home that you can take everywhere.
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
As long as you cast that 9th level spell. As long as you have that slot. I don't think you have to cast it every time you want to use that mansion. You cast it, it's summoned, and then you go in and out.
I love that spell, actually. It's very cool.
Yeah.
What was it called? Rope Trick?
Yeah.
That's
very powerful for its level.
That is a very powerful spell. You guys can hide and peek out and look at people while they're walking by.
Pull the rope up.
There's a chance someone can pull the rope up, and unlikely they're going to see you.
Right. Yes. On who needs to go back to town, summon your mansion. It's a very good alternative.
And if I got a party of 19th level characters, that's how they roll, and I'm fine with that. They should be, because deep down, I like to see the change in the, how would I say, the tier play change a little bit, and I want to go past domain play. I mean, if you want to be a king, fine, but I want to see that if we got the levels, I want to see the characters keep moving.
Right.
Go from turd bucket to local hero to king of the land to superhero to near godlike, maybe a god. I don't know. I don't mind. Game keeps going. If that's the direction it goes, I'm cool with it.
And a lot of those higher echelon tiers can go a lot longer than your lower level tiers. I mean, for me, for my money, if I was going to start again at first level in that kind of a game, I'd want those lower level tiers, especially if it's a game system I'm really, really familiar with.
Yeah.
I would want that to go fairly quickly and get to kind of a mid-tier game. And that can last however long it takes to get to the higher tier. That way you can learn your character, learn the system, learn more about the game world, the lore and everything. You can stay in that for a long time.
Our man makes a good point. He says, specifically, Enlarge is a crazy powerful for high-level casters. String spell can be a game changer, too. That's another thing. Some low-level spells kind of suck at first level, and then when you gain a few levels, that's pretty boss. When your Enlarge lasts for 3 hours, that's not bad for the party barbarian.
Right. Or, like, say, Magic Missile. When you first get it, you have one missile.
Yeah, D4 plus 1. Poop.
D4 plus 1. So, yeah, everybody says, oh, but it's guaranteed. Yeah, but it's still only a couple points of damage.
Right.
But a 20th level caster would have 11 as AD&D first edition. Every edition past that totally nerfs that spell.
Yep. And he'd be rolling with, he would do 11 D4 plus 11 damage, and he would cast like 9 of them.
Yeah.
So he could, theoretically, he could knock walls down with Magic Missile. Disco Barbarian says, playing DCC once, a wizard in the party had Rope Trick. His mercurial magic side, his magic is an effect of it. Side effect was he turned invisible for an hour. My man was constantly doing rope tricks. Yeah, invisible's pretty awesome.
Right.
Oh, though Cal says, if it lasts more than 4 hours, call a doctor.
Doctor. Let's see. What's a DM to do? Limited range. Well, see, teleport.
You could limit the range.
First edition teleport. I don't know that it had a range limit, did it?
I think there was one, but I feel like it was like in hundreds of miles per level.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Well, my thought was, I think again, teleport doesn't bother me that much, but if you're going to use a spell like Misty Step and then graduate to Dimension Door and then graduate to teleport, why not just have teleport at a lower level? You can only do certain things. And as you level up, teleport becomes better, like other lower level spells. I'm kind of thinking about a different magic system that's connected to levels, but you and I have done that with our original Mud Sword, where we had spells like the light spell. You change that around to do some other stuff.
Right.
So, Dice Tail, a weird guy says, do you guys prefer magicians who are weak but have lots of spells, or only a few spells that rock hard? I think Joe would say he prefers lots of spells that rock hard. But I think as they level up, I don't want it to be just a real tiny little pew, pew, pew all the time. And the wizard at some point's got to drop the bomb on people. So he's got to have, for me, that's what I want. So I will say I want them to be able to really hammer things sometimes, but I wouldn't mind if they had a good mix of spells. That's one of the charms of older D&D. The spells were kind of all over the place.
Right. So it also depends on the old school feel is for wizards is they have a spell book and they can go out and find all kinds of spells, except in Randy's games where you never find anything.
Spells are for
you have to steal, beg, borrow, and steal to get spells. And that's with just regular townfolk. So, you have an ever-expanding grimoire that you have to make choices on every day to what you are casting. And that's one style of play with wizards. Another style is that they have like with the sorcerer, you have a few spells that you can cast more often.
Yeah.
And I kind of lean toward the more traditional wizard for D&D play. But I understand that there's a big disparity with a low level caster. As much as I complain they can't do anything, it's even worse when you flip it on its ear. The wizard at low level can do nothing, and they have to hide behind the fighter's shield to live to second, third, and fourth level. But once they get to ninth level and beyond, it's more the opposite, because the fighter has to, the wizard's got more problem-solving capabilities than the fighter, because there's a lot of situations that the fighter can't do anything with because their weapons don't work.
Yep.
Or their effect is greatly diminished, where the spellcasters have a lot more that they can do to solve the problems in a game.
Yeah.
So I understand why that's an issue, because with mundane classes, the mundane classes of D&D, the spellcasters, especially the magic user, far outstrips them at high level, especially a thief.
Yeah.
Thieves get to be practically useless at mid to high level.
In old D&D, they become crap, actually. I got a couple I want to comment on. Bruce Lombardo says, I like the old school wizards being the glass cannon, D4 hit points.
Right. So that was a great limiter, which I didn't like.
What?
And I kind of liked having D6 in other games. But if you want to have a wizard that has punchy spells, you probably have to have some drawbacks in being the glass cannon, and whiffing with regular weapons most of the time are probably good trade-offs. Being squishy and not good with weapons, really good with spells, you have to have some sort of give and take, I think.
Well, it says, and Dice Tales says it here, it's from a game mechanic standpoint, I prefer better when at high levels you need to work together to defeat the monsters. Magic users and fighters continue to need each other. Even when I played old school D&D and people would talk about it, 3rd edition maybe, but I didn't even experience that, the quadratic wizard and the linear fighter. I think it's true, but I didn't find that didn't turn people off from playing fighters.
Right. What the fighters do at higher levels is similar, but not completely the same as low level. The fighters keep the monsters at bay until the casters do their thing.
Yeah.
Because without the fighter, the casters are dog meat. You have to have meat shields for the casters to be able to do anything.
I don't know where
they still do have to work together.
Yeah, I don't know where the comment was, but I hated things and feats and skills and spells in third edition. And Bruce mentioned one in Pathfinder called the glide spell or glide something. I remember that made wizards super mobile, so they would never have attacks of opportunity. I hate when they made things that would just bypass the classic default too easily. I don't mind if it could happen for a while, but Cooking with Cookies got it. It's a team game. Working together is part of it. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, you cannot have a wizard in even old school D&D act alone for the most part. Because once they cast one spell, if they can get a one spell, one kill, fine. But after that, dog meat.
Well, first level, you cast your sleep spell. Thanks, you saved us from those 19 goblins. But we got a whole dungeon we got to finish clearing.
Yeah,
and we're not quitting just because you shot your wad. So get in the back and chill out. We'll see how far we can go. There's some charm to that old school strategy. Weird Guy mentions Rifts. He says, or Palladium, he's a Palladium vet. And in Rifts of Palladium Fantasy, the wizard has lots of utility, but not a lot of nuclear bombs. The warrior do the killing. The wizard solve puzzles and crowd control. Joe found that out when we played Rifts too. Yeah. The wizards had a lot more versatile ability and a lot less.
And you had to get higher level spells before that. I don't know if it changes a whole lot, but their spells get punchy at higher levels. They're lower level, even though in Palladium, characters start out a lot more competent and can do a lot more things than in a D&D character. Even though they're called first level, they have a lot more going for them. Wizards get first, second, third, and fourth level spells, I think, as a first level wizard or Leyline Walker in Palladium.
Yeah.
And even across all four of those levels, their spells are kind of weak. Attack spells. They have a lot of utility spells.
Yeah. Iron Man, I think, is throwing a little bone toward Horde Wars. He says working together really shines in Horde Wars. It's very important. I agree. You got to help each other out. And Dice tells you might enjoy that game if you've never played it, dude. It's a pretty fun.
It's a fun game.
Fun game. I have fun playing it. It's very interesting. So, yeah. Okay. I think. Well, I don't know. Anything else you want to say about the Disheartening Dweomers? We got a lot of conversation out of that.
Yeah.
And I'm not against. I play D&D. I play it straight. Second level invisibility, third level fly, fifth level teleport. I'm good with that. Seventh level teleport, no error.
Well,
ninth level gate, whatever.
I wonder how much, because there's been a lot of online discussions about the various spells that we've talked about and many that we haven't yet. We can bring up more in subsequent installments of this, but lots of discussion about how they break the game or a particular person's preferred tone is destroyed by high level or even mid-level magic.
Yes.
And that might be why old school, limiting it to 8th and 9th level play is attractive to some people, because if you use D&D out of the box, once you get to sometimes it seems like it at 5th level, there's kind of a gear shift, but definitely around 8th and 9th level, there's another gear shift. And I think there's just a lot of people who don't really care for that. And the only way you get around that is by just picking certain things and saying, we're not doing that.
People helping us out here. Disco Barbarian asked about what is Horde Wars, and I put the link in there saying check out Big Geek Emporium. That's where you'll find it at Blackwall Games. It's quality. It's a quality game. Yeah. I'm sorry, Joe. Yeah, as you were.
Right. So I think the reason I thought of this being a good topic is because I wanted to kind of get down to what is the real problem with these things.
It's mostly feel. It's mostly what you want your setting to be like. You want, if you want to gain, the longest, if you want the most you can get out of resource management and careful, you got to go across, the dark dungeons and the dark forest and the valleys, and you want to make it grim and gritty. This D&D, well, really, I would ask the question, why are you playing D&D? D&D is not really grim and gritty.
No.
So, but, if you want to play D&D, I don't want to take it away from you, then you got to do something with those spells or it gets crazy.
Or you might even have to do something with. Some people think you shouldn't even have demi-humans that can see in the dark, because then that ruins
world setting and tone. Yeah,
world setting and tone. I think that being able to see in the dark ruins a gritty campaign.
Yep.
Because there are things in the dark that scare people.
Mm-hmm.
And if the darkness isn't scary because you can just see in it anyway, then it sets a different tone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Not exactly.
Huh?
Cal says they thought Horde Wars was a war game. No, sir. It's an RPG, brother. You should pick it up.
Yeah, but it has
already.
Well, it is. I think it is not unfair to call it a war game. It is an RPG, but it has a lot of war game feel to it.
It's got, and this is not a knock because I love me some 3rd edition. It's got a tamped down 3rd edition build game, not nearly as crazy. The play it's got a lot of mechanical pieces. You can bite your teeth into it and feel like you're doing some stuff that's mechanical at the table. It's got plenty of room to RP, and it's got some freedom on the skill usage. I don't say it's not my favorite game, but it's in the rotation, baby. Probably for good.
Right, like Cal. If you want that in print, you can get it through
Blackwall Games.
Blackwall Games. You can send them an email, and then they can give you the details on how to get it in print.
Yeah.
If you would like
somewhere,
if you would like that email, let us know.
Yeah. And it's a nice little, you can get the basic version, which is all they have for sale right now. It's a little 3-ring binder. I don't have mine handy, but it's nice. Not a 3-ring binder. It's a spiral bound. So,
yeah, that is a really good format. Do you want Super Friends of the Rings or Wits, Muscle, and Grit? I don't think those aren't your only options, but that kind of is a continuum. So you can have a game that's real wacky with the magic and all kinds of crazy stuff happens, like in comic book superhero comics, especially like Super Friends, like he's saying. And then you can have a real down to earth, not a lot of magic games, or maybe no magic, at least none from the players. Maybe the only magic that happens was with the bad guys, and it's evil.
I think that's one of the great things about D&D, Disco Barbarian. I would say I want it all. I want it to be grim and gritty at the beginning, and as the characters get buff and get hard to stop, they become a little more Super Friend or Lord of the Ringsy, right? Because let's be honest, the Fellowship was some pretty bad dudes. They weren't first level.
No.
Whatever level they weren't.
The Hobbits were.
Hobbits were probably a little higher, actually. They had a high luck score from DCC.
Yeah, I'm just saying, as far as the way they seem to be,
Fair enough.
Aragorn and Boromir and Gandalf especially.
I like the progression.
Yeah.
Grim and gritty, low at the ends, and then more Lord of the Rings, and then maybe Super Friends at the high level. Maybe Marvel superheroes, Thanos, godlike stuff. I'm cool with that.
At high level. It doesn't.
Yeah, at high level.
I don't want that from the beginning.
No. Unless you're doing a one-shot, maybe. And you want to play high-level dudes. That could be okay.
Disco Barbarian, I think he clarifies a little bit and says, yes, they are the extremes, not binary, like gender. LOL.
Right on, brother. Yeah, 0 to hero is great. Hero to superhero is great. Superhero to godlike.
Oh. Weird guy says Frodo can't be high level. I submit this fact. Frodo's kill count is 0. He never kills a thing.
Mea culpa. 0 level Frodo. Fair enough. And if you don't kill something, you can't level up. That's the rules.
All
right. See, what is it? 9:04. Do you want to push on to another topic, or do you want to wrap it up?
I think we can. How are you feeling? How's your throat?
I'm reaching kind of. I could do another topic if you wanted to, but
do Do you want to do the
module one seems good. Could be a long one.
Okay.
You know what? Maybe you want to try the quick hit heart target or not?
Sure, let's do that.
I don't think that'll be that long.
No.
Okay.
Oh, hey, that's a cramp.
Timeout for Joe. Joe needs a timeout on the field. All right. Is it coming? Are you good? Okay. So, quick hit heart target. We're going to talk about DM or the player. When you're playing your game, session, prep for the session, fun, everything, who gets the most bang for the buck? And I know we're not all paying to play. I'm talking about when you come to your table, who gets the most out of it? Now, when I say bang for the buck, I mean value.
All right. So you're not talking about who gets the most for what they have financially invested in the game.
No. Okay. I'm talking about when we play for 6 hours and it's a good session, and let's just assume everybody has fun. And who has probably got the most value from the experience?
Me.
Joe. Okay.
Doesn't matter who's playing. It's always me.
Yeah.
No, I think that it's going to depend, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I don't think you can write it down any kind of way.
No, I don't think this is a 100% one thing.
Because you might have prepped and done all the things you'd like to do, and everything goes perfectly during the session.
Right.
And you might think you've gotten the most out of the game, but maybe you've gotten all your players on the edge of their seats, and they have thoroughly enjoyed. They're totally invested, and at the end of the session, you could all brag about having gotten the most out of that session that night.
Man, the stars were aligned tonight, baby. We had the session to end all sessions.
Right. I'm not saying that everyone has to have the same amount of fun for it to be successful.
No, and it's subjective.
What I am saying is this is a hugely subjective
correct
idea.
Yeah, I think Max got it. Honestly, it's totally subjective. Yes, it absolutely is. What if I add on prep for the session, and people will say, "Oh, you ain't got to prep that much." Whatever, maybe a DM does. I mean, I used to in the early third, in the mid, in the heavy third edition days, I would prep 2 hours for every hour at the table, and that was 12 kinds of wrong.
Dice Tales says trigger warning.
No, not trigger. That's cool.
4D play. We all get a big bang for our buck.
Right on. That's cool. If you think so, that's cool.
I think he's being a little facetious with the trigger warning.
It's okay. I know. It's good. I feel you, brother. It's all good. You 4D your butt off, my man.
4D it.
4D it. Randy doesn't mind, and he might want to play one time because I could probably get into that. If you consider prep time, some people would say there's no way the DM is going to get as
what
much.
If you enjoy prep?
Right. That's what I was going to say.
I mean,
I was going to counter my own statement.
Yeah. If you don't enjoy prepping, yet you do it anyway, and then you come to the game grumpy because you've had to slave over your prep for 10 hours and we're only going to play for 2, well, then you need to solve that as a DM for yourself.
You do, because maybe you shouldn't DM. Maybe you shouldn't do another system. Maybe you should not prep as much. Maybe you should prep more because you're not enjoying it.
Yeah, maybe you should change the way you prep. Doesn't necessarily need to be the time invested, or maybe it's just the method.
Yeah, I do too. Max says I love building the campaigns and sessions. I do. I love. I can really enjoy session prep more for games. Here's what I found recently: of all the games that I've run, I've had the most fun prepping in the last 2 or 3 years. OSC, Savage Worlds. Those two are the most fun to prep. Not that I don't have fun with others. Horde Wars was pretty cool. The one we're doing now. I've got a whole setting I'm working on that's a separate from the Grimstead part that's given in the book, and I'm enjoying that. But I think I really love those two systems. I think I have more fun when I have more freedom. When there's more rules that I need to keep track of, and I know you can do whatever you want, but if I'm running 3.x or Pathfinder, I feel like I'm always looking through the books for rules, and I don't care for that.
Right. I think you can play even those games and not worry about it. and you can develop a sense for the rules such that you don't necessarily need to crack the books all the time. But I understand what you're saying. It is an issue. Cooking with Cucky says 4D don't fit. I've tried.
4D. Oh no.
Interpret that the way you wish.
I'm going to interpret 4D gaming didn't fit for her group. I'm assuming it's a her. It may not be.
No, this is a him.
Oh, it's a him. Okay. He's trying.
That might kind of clue you in on what he's talking about.
Okay, dude. It's funny as heck. Oh, dude.
That's a Cabin Con. That's a Cabin Con.
That's a Cabin Con comment. Yeah, that would fit right in at Cabin Con. Ooh, but fit right in. Darth says he likes what Seth, I don't know who Seth is, said every player is responsible for the fun they have. You need to say, I will have a good game. I think that's
Seth MacFarlane?
Seth Sorkowski, maybe. Is that who it is, Darth? Cal says, I'm not sold on 4D. Then again, look, I'll be willing to try it. I'm willing to get it. No, it's okay.
Yeah, we like to joke around too.
It's okay. Nobody's feelings are hurt, Cookie. It's all good.
I mark on these videos in YouTube that they're not made for kids. When we do our Cabin Con,
not for kids.
It's for not Cabin Con. Cabin Con's not for kids.
No.
Our Big Geek Con is family friendly.
Absolutely.
But there could be a table there that's not.
Absolutely. And this year, we got the whole place. We're going to have separate rooms. The kids are going to be able to be in a different room if they need to be. And if you want to have like, hey, my game's going to get pretty serious. I don't want any kids in it. I mean, like, hey, maybe you'll take one of the private rooms. That we got one of the rooms off the side. We got 4 different, the big room and 2-3 others. So we're going to be rolling pretty sweet.
Oh.
Darth says yes. Seth Sorkowski. I know that guy. He's pretty good.
Who's that?
He's a YouTuber. He gives some pretty decent.
Oh, okay. YouTuber.
Oh, yes. Dude, Mac. Yes, we have the date set in stone.
Yeah, I will make. I meant to do this at the very beginning. Let me do it now.
Do it now.
We'll do it live. But I'm not going to say F it. Let's see. Where are we at there? I'm going to make the Big Geek Con 2024 over on Tabletop Events public, so folks can go there and get their badges.
Nice.
The ability to select games is not up yet.
Okay.
It's going to be a little complicated. I thought that we were only going to have 2 rooms, but now that we're going to have how many? 4?
74 rooms.
74 rooms.
We're going to have the big ballroom, which can comfortably house 40-ish people, and that's comfortable.
Right.
Then we have, it's loud, but it's comfortable. Then we're going to have a room off the side, which is 20-ish people, and 2 rooms that are 10 each, baby. So we are going to be styling this year.
Right.
So please come to it, play games. Watch me run Dungeons and Delvers this year. Watch me run Horde Wars.
What's the most do you think that we can safely have at one time?
I think we could have, well, according to the numbers, 45 or 55 is the double ballroom. 25 is 20. I think it's 20 or let's say 20. So it's 75 plus 20. We could have 95 people. I think 100 people could show up and we'd be able to do it. Now that's going to be big. And we got to have people running games. We've got 100 folks show up, baby. I'll probably run every session. Iron Man, 74 rooms, each with a computer. We play online VTTs.
Well, I
don't even see each other.
I had minimum attendees 60. So
minimum?
We don't. Yeah, there's a typo. So I put maximum attendees. I thought we were at 60, but I bumped it up to 100. We
can do 100. And here's the thing. I would be like, we'd be over the moon if we had 100 attendees, but I would also be like panic mode because we'd have to have the games. Yeah.
All right. So I have just set it to public. Like I said, it's not, we don't have the ability to set up games when you buy a badge, you can't also schedule, submit games or because we don't have any submitted yet. So there's no way to select games within tabletop events.
Folks are asking
coming very soon.
Folks are asking if you can link the website inside.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
He's going to do that, guys. L says, Randy, downgrade that. Kids get in free. Oh, yes, I forgot about that. Yeah, we'll say 100 people, but I mean, Joe, if you want to be safe, put it at 60. I feel like we'll be
Put
lucky.
It back to 60?
I think it'd be miraculous if we got 60. If people are like, hey, I can't get in, we'll bump it up. L's got a good point. Yeah, kids count for occupancy, right? Fire loss. Thank you, L. Yes. He just wants to see the badges. We need to make badges this year if we can. Make them look groovy.
So check this out in a different browser. Make sure people can go there.
I would love to have an actual official badge. That would be cool.
Yeah. All right. So let me.
I should get Patrick to draw the design for it and then make it.
Edit.
Oh,
change it back to 60. Change it back to 60.
Yeah, I guess 60. I think that'd be safer. L made a good point. Listen, but we'll see what happens. If we get 60 and people are still clamoring, I'll go there and check it out. I'll run it by the person. And I don't know. Our kids, we haven't decided yet. Do you still have kids free? Kids under 13 or 14 free?
Huh?
Are we still got? Is there something where kids are free? Because I wanted to change that.
Let's see.
I wanted teenagers to have to pay.
I do not have a line in here that says anything about kids are free. Okay,
well, I'm going to figure something out with the kids. Flady says he's got all his modules for up to 8 people. Right on, Flady. You're the man, the myth, the legend. Disco Barbarian says, you guys have a vendor for T-shirts or crap? Joe has a way to get Big Geek Emporium T-shirts, but we don't have convention T-shirts, which we truly need.
Okay, so we do not have any vendors exactly. We have a few people that sell stuff there. We just put them on a table, and it's not like the vendor hall at all.
This is small time, baby.
Yeah. So I mean, we have a little bit of food there, little snacks, and hot dogs and hamburgers. Do we have hamburgers or just hot dogs?
Look at Cucky. If you get 60 and 9 more show up, you're letting them in, right? You got dirty mind, dude.
So yeah, we do have vendors, but it's not really a big thing. But
and good. Yeah. And fire laws are important because the floor is lava.
The floor is lava.
Don't forget that.
Lava
from last year.
So I have set the convention to public. I have put the link here in the chat. I will also go over to the description. I will update the description right now.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to call it Gen Con.
Yeah. Don't worry, Cal. We're not going to run a daycare. You bring kids, you take care of your kids.
Yeah, we don't know.
Or nobody's watching the kids.
We are friends with a lot of the, if not all the folks that bring their kids. So we kind of say, hey, but we don't know. They watch their own kids.
Yes, it is. The door is open.
24.
Disco, yes. We have ways to obtain such things. We have a couple of avenues. Joe has one to be able to get T-shirts. Patrick has one to get T-shirts.
So as long as I can come up with some sort of design. I'm personally am not necessarily the one to do that. But
I think we need to hire our boy Patrick and do let him pull his cabin con magic on the Big Geek Con and see what he could do. So the man, the myth, the legend can do it, and it'll be a very nice T-shirt. So
I've updated the description to include a link to tabletop events for this convention. Let us know if, we don't have a vendor booth. Let us know if there's any issues.
Yeah, that's what Disco was clarifying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Disco says if we need a second quote, we need to let him know. Yeah, okay, we might. So now we got Disco as an option. Let me write that down because now we got
Disco Barbarian.
We got multiple options for. I'm writing that down, and when I write it down, I forget it. Disco Barbarian.
Too bad. It would be cool if we could
Will do,
have
my man.
someone streaming live from there, doing some video now and again.
No, we said that before, but we didn't do it, did we?
Okay. Me and you are playing, so it's not like I'm doing it or you're doing it. And I really, maybe it's me being selfish. I probably could, but
Hardman says if Patrick airbrushes the shirt on me, it'll be a sweater.
that's funny.
Yeah, Darth, we're talking about Big Geek Con 2.0. Yeah, Patrick he's made some pretty badass t-shirts. I don't think either one of them this year. I'm wearing a Yoda shirt. Tonight I'm wearing a Yoda shirt. Joe, yours is a Pitbull shirt, so it's not
yes. Pitbull Dad.
Oh, Larry Elliott, #1. I think that's 2 years in a row he's been #1.
Yep. He likes to be first.
He does. He's a first in line. No, it's last in line. My bad. Oh,
I'm not familiar with that reference.
It's Ronnie James Dio. The last in line. What?
That's the thing. Cooking with Cookie says, do you have cams to set up? So I have webcam, and I have
video cameras I can access, but we didn't do it. I brought them in and didn't use them. It felt like a lot of stuff.
Right. So I think we could probably have cams, and what would be the challenge is setting multiple cams up and having it run through a computer or two, and then somebody running that. So Cookie says also Cooking with Cookie says someone could run it remotely, giving you guys the room to do your thing. That would be really groovy.
That would be groovy. There's an idea. L comments on Cookie's comment, says, Cookie, Joe and Randy are boomers. They're lucky they're streaming right now. Not Joe. He's a boomer. We're actually not boomers.
No, we're not
boomers.
We're
Gen Xers. We're right on the edge, dude. 67.
There is the occasional boo-boo that we commit. But that's
Joe is better than me. So we're not quite boomers.
I think we're just maybe 3 or 4 years off, something like that.
My wife is a boomer. We're 3 years off. And she's really more like a Gen Xer, though she's technically a boomer. I have mostly Gen X qualities of, if you believe that crap. From what I've read, I feel very Gen X-ish, but I have some boomer qualities too.
Oh, I've heard of AnyDesk. Oh, right. Yes. So you give someone AnyDesk access to your PC.
Who could do that? That wouldn't be a horrible idea. That'd be fun. And we could place. So those cameras I have are several years old though, and they're borrowed. Yeah. Oh, Flady, yes. Should invite Kevin and crew from Palladium. We will, but it's hard to get them to respond to me. They don't respond pretty easily in email, but I know they're busy boys, so I don't want to bug them, but I will invite them. That's correct. And I will invite the Horde Wars guys are planning on coming. So shut up, Boomer. So the plan is Cal's a little older than us. He's the last year of the Boomers. All right.
Yeah, I just turned 57 last week.
And I am about to. Hey, that's cool. Sean wants to run Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't care. Yes, I have the option. Martin says, can I borrow it from my work? I can. I can get 3 or 4 cameras, but they're older video cameras. I'm sure there's a way to link them. I know there's a way to link them to computers. I'm sure it can be done. It would be neat to have some live action from the con so people could see it. Last year we showed pictures, right? We brought them on the show and showed pictures.
I believe so. Maybe we didn't do that good with it. I don't remember. But we'll do it. It'll be a good time. If we can get same number of people as last time, I'll be happy as a pig in slop. If we get more, that'll be even better. Holy crap, we've got 2 pages of stuff here. Let's see. Let me see how many tickets. It looks like we have at least 3 tickets sold already.
All right, baby. You guys
have 3 badges.
All right, man.
Thank you, Matt Thompson.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Larry Elliott. Actually, unless he bought 2. Yeah, Larry Elliott bought 2. So he's number 1 and number 2.
Okay. Yeah.
He's an overachiever.
Max said he bought 3.
Oh, okay. There's multiples there. Right. Oh, Mac,
yeah.
You're awesome.
Mac the man. He's so cool. It's not even funny. So. Possibly, Martin said. I'll check into it. I might be able to do that. I'm hoping to get a buddy of ours. I want to get Duncan Bradley at the con. So, and Cookie said he's willing to help. So we may be able to use that feller. That'd be cool.
That would be.
Yeah. Not 3, not 33, he said. Yep. Don't be buying 33. 3 is good. All right. Yeah. So September 20th, 22nd, Saginaw, Michigan, the 4 Points by Sheraton. It's going to be a fun time. Friday, 8 to 11, Saturday, 8 to 11, and Sunday, probably noon or 10 to 5 or 6. It's not fully set on Sunday, but we're going to do 3. So we'll see how it goes. We may find that 3 days are too much. We may find that we're going to have the Friday option. We're expecting, if it's like last year, Friday will be slow. Saturdays.
Yeah. Friday morning, expecting people to come on a work day on the morning is probably a little, most people.
Night, Bruce. Take care, brother.
Good night.
Oh, that's what I need.
Good night.
Elle says, get a GoPro body.
Night.
I'm going to get hey, Joe's singing. Get a GoPro body cam to wear around Randy. Just
if you want to spend $300-$400, I mean, you might be able to get.
$300-$400.
They're a bit of a bite.
I got a buddy who's got one.
Depending on which version. I mean, let's see. You can go on Amazon and see if they have any that are refurbished. Amazon.
I don't buy refurbished. That's a lie. Actually, I do.
Yeah, refurbished. The refurbished program on Amazon doesn't mean they've repaired it. It means that people have bought it and now they've sent it back. They just repackage it.
Okay.
That's what I've been told. So
that's your story, and you're sticking to it.
Yes.
Hold on, guys. I'm being gross.
Yes, the GoPro Hero 12 is $429.
Whoa.
They've got a GoPro Hero 10 for $200. And they have some knockoffs that are like GoPros but are different, of course, different brands.
Flady's got it. He says just steal them. It's legal now in most cities and states from what he sees on the news.
It's under $1,000. So go to LA, steal one, and then come back home, and no action will be taken, except that your face might be on some store's camera. You might get some social blowback from that. Social
blowback. I hate that part. Well, man, are you ready to boogie out of here? Because I'm feeling kind of down. I'm starting to go down, so I'm going to have to get out of here soon.
You're crashing? Yeah. So let's get...
Sorry, guys. Randy's a little under the weather.
So, yes. Also, one quick other note. Had some folks work on Big Geek Emporium. They've reported, and I have not been able to verify, but they've reported that they've sped it up a lot. So, hopefully that issue has been resolved. So, anything else you want to say, Mr.
Not me, man. I'm done, guys. Thank you, guys. You were awesome tonight.
All right. With all of that said, this is Joe.
And I'm Randy.
And remember, if you can't be big like us, then be geeks like us.